Pay your people better. March, uh, 20th. That's right. Come on, get in there. So I'm changing the title of the series to Pay Your People Better. I feel like hopefulness just doesn't really match the way that I'm thinking about things, thinking about the world. Hope is not something that I have in even reasonable quantity. Hope is, for me, an actionless state of being, right? It is something that people effectively sit on while expecting action of others. Now, of course, I'm doing the same thing effectively by saying pay your people better, but I'm not an employer. So this is an accountability thing. Instead of saying, well, I hope you pay people better, it's like, fucking do it. I made cookies yesterday. And I know that this little video series of mine is not going to change the world. It's not going to accomplish anything, really. But at the very least, it'll put me in a different mental. It'll be more indicative of my mental state, and potentially put me in more of an actionable approach to life. I don't know. I could be wrong. You know, hope might be the thing with feathers, but it's not a very actionable thing. I can't hope that... Oh, there goes the water pressure, of course. So, like, for instance, I can't hope that I get these done. I have to do them. I have to do them every day. And I haven't been doing them. I haven't been doing all of the 5 that were essentially prescribed to me every day. I've been trying because it's getting in that headspace and stuff. But maybe, you know, this is a little wishful thinking, but maybe by changing the title of this series to being an actionable sort of command, it will give me some sort of internal push. Because in a way, that's paying me better. That's me paying me better by doing something that's beneficial to me. So, you know, when I'm done with this video, when I sit on my bed, which is like a memory foam style bed, so it's kind of a pain in the ass to do all this. But it is what it is right now, you know? Once I get a broom, because like the vacuum does the job for the most part, but like a broom would be better, because then I can at least just vacuum up the rest of the stuff. But like a broom would be easier to just move and get stuff out of the way, because the vacuum is just, it's got a small head and everything, so. Because this is kind of the biggest-ish living space, because like everything is all in one little area. There's no like real demarcation. Like the last place I was at, the kitchen had different flooring than the bedroom. This is all the same flooring, so I mean, it's all the same into the bathroom too. And this shit's dusty as fuck, so I'm gonna have to sweep pretty regularly. And so I've got a few more boxes that I'm still figuring out. Trying to figure out this internet situation too, because like this motherfucker has been just nonstop asshole, and I can't hope for better internet. It's not going to work. It's not happening. I can't hope for it. I have to get better. I have to acquire. I have to take the necessary actions in order to get a better internet. Hope in this case is effectively fruitless. set the timer for a minute, even though I'm not going to use it just yet. And then we'll try to get some water up in here. And we'll start. So yeah, you know, I don't know if it's because I watched, I don't know, 4 or 5 different last meal videos last night, or if it's just I got sick of trying to start this shit, calling it hopeful, and like looking at the state of things, and being like, well, I can't hope for good change. Like, I can't hope that my rent gets paid. I have to pay for it. I can't hope for, you know, I don't fucking know. It's just like, I understand having hopefulness as like as a means of self-care, as maybe a means of self-comfort. So that you don't like give up on yourself or up on the world or anything like that. And, you know, like, because there's not just one action in life. There's not just one thing or one belief. There's multiple. We and the rest of the world contain multitudes. And so it only stands to make sense that we do what we can, given our circumstances, as much of a pain in the ass as it might be. Oh, man. It's like I didn't hope to get here. In fact, I thought I wasn't going to get this place. I was sure that it wasn't going to happen, and then I was just getting yanked around, and then it happened. It's just like, okay, well, all right, now I got to deal with that. And now I'm also dealing with the various issues that are associated with it. Like, so I still can't do lat pull downs in the little fitness center that we have here because they still haven't fixed it. Which doesn't seem like it would take that much effort. I mean, you know, it's like, take a crescent wrench or two. You know, pop open one of the things and then just like kind of unscrew those so you can swivel a thing and reposition the fucking case. I don't fucking know. But it still hasn't been fixed the last I checked anyway. Which was 2 days ago, because I got to do it again today. Physical therapist says, you know, more than anything, he kind of wants me on like a treadmill and now or an elliptical. And now the water pressure is back up to an okay level. It's never good, it's just okay. But I'm still going to do incremental strength training. Because I still want I still want strength training, but I also need to do this shit. Like, that's the more important stuff right now. And I haven't been able to do all of them twice a day because, like, this first one, the lumbar rotation and non-weight bearing, first one where you just kind of rock your legs back and forth, it feels weird because of the bedding. The bed causes me to sink in, my feet slip out from under me, and so it makes it hard for me to continue doing it. And I gotta do it fucking 30 times. It says repeat 30 times per set. So it's 30 sets. I'm only doing 15. I haven't even gotten to 30 sets. He's like, well, you'll be an expert by the time by the time we meet or whatever again, something like that. But by the time we're done with this, and I'm like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know about that. And I'm not trying to neglect it. I'm just generally forgetful. And then I have other stuff I have to take care of. You know, it's like, do I have to make cookies? No. But do I have to do any of the stuff that I'm doing in this place. Not really. I mean, I could figure out a way to just only eat like microwavable meals, and I'm sure I could make it work. Financially, it would be difficult, but I could probably do it. I mean, I'm exhausted, even though I basically slept for 8 hours. Like, trying to get up and do stuff. It's like, it's so difficult for me. And so, like, I take what solace I can. I need to pump up the AC a little bit. It's supposed to be like 90 or something today. And I know part of it has to do with me being overweight and old. You know, the funny thing is, like, I know that being overweight is bad for me. And when I was talking to the physical therapist, it was like, he didn't really want to say that. Like, and whenever I brought it up, he would try to repivot it. And like, maybe that has something to do with like decades of just sort of dismissing people, you know, because of so much. Because like, one of the problems that has happened in the medical industry is that they will start to dismiss your ailments and just tell you to stop being overweight. Now, a lot of it, I'm sure, has to do with the attitude of the people who aren't, you know, maybe mentioning that they're being an asshole. Or they're not mentioning information that they didn't pass on, stuff like that. You know, when I talk to a doctor, I do my absolute damnedest to tell them everything that I know about the circumstance. And it's not like, here's all I know. Listen to how fantastical I am. It's like, no, these are the things that I understand. This is the information that I have acquired about the thing that I'm here for. And so it kind of felt like he was trying to pivot a little bit. And again, maybe it had something to do with that. Maybe not. I don't fucking know. Can't read his mind. Like, just having a hard time with the internet earlier. And I've already mentioned it a little bit, but like, I'll mention it some more. Basically chocolate milk. I love it. Oh wow, it's even worse now. This is what it looked like before. That's why my sink is so messy today, because yesterday that's what it was like all day. It's like, how are you supposed to fucking wash dishes like that? Doesn't make any sense. That's the hot water. I'm basically getting none. Shower is similar, and then it just kind of dribbles. It's like it has a prostate problem. But like yesterday, and then today, the Turtle World of Warcraft, fan server they've provided approximately 1.2 gigs of updates in the last day. And yesterday, they had a big like 800 megabyte patch, and that took like 3 hours, because like when the data on my phone meshes, when the hotspot works well, and like it has to be that the phone is doing its own little thing. I'm always like on Firefox just refreshing a latency page so that I can make sure that my ping is actually good, because if the ping on the phone is good, then there's a higher probability that the Wi-Fi is good. If the ping, the hotspot, if the ping on the phone is bad, then the chances are the hotspot is also bad. Let me check something. I don't know. This cable that I'm using is one of the older cables that I've had for a while, and it just doesn't like to sometimes be properly seated in the plug. It's usually on the bottom end, but I'll just have to get something else at some point. I've got another cable that I could probably use, because this one uses a USA to USB or a USB A to USB C adapter in order to get into the plug itself, because this cable is USB C to USB A. But that's how the last phone that I had, a little Pixel worked, and so that's just how I've been kind of doing it now. And I do have a couple of like USB C to USB Cs, so I can try to see how that works. But anyway, kind of going back to the data thing here on the computer and whatnot, it's just like, it started so yesterday the patch took for fucking ever to get shit taken care of. Like it just kept restarting and being like, so like it does the little launcher and then it's like verifying all the data packets that you have and everything, and seeing if it needs anything else. And that has been a recent change for everybody. Like, it happens to as many people that I'm aware of. Like, everybody deals with that. So it takes a moment to like recognize all your shit and then see if it needs an update. It's like, okay, cool. So there were times where I could play for a little bit and then it would just like crash out, and then I would have, massive amounts of ping, which means communication back and forth. So like when we talk to the opportunity, or not opportunity because Oppie is dead, sadly, Curiosity on Mars, the ping is massive. We're talking minutes, half an hour at times, because of how far away Mars is and how limited the speed of light is at those distances. Like if you're traveling 50 miles an hour, it's fast if you're going across town, but it's not fast if you're going across country. Distances matter. Well, I generally have a ping of of in the milliseconds. So like approximately 150 milliseconds, which is about a 1% issue. That's not bad. Like it's 1.5% of it's 10% of a second. 15 technically. Because like 1 second is 1,000, right? And so if it was 100 milliseconds, it would be a 1 second delay, or it'd be a tenth of a second of delay. I'm getting not a tenth, a 15th of a second of delay, which is not bad, right? Now sometimes it gets up to the 200 millisecond, and that's still 20th of a 20% of a second of delay. That's faster than most people recognize things. If you're having a conversation with somebody, most people take longer than that to recognize what you just said in full. And that's the back and forth. That's the there and back again. That's the round trip. And so usually I don't have a problem when it comes to playing and stuff, because the world of the internet is generally just good. But then there's times like we're today and yesterday especially, where like I'll be in the process of downloading it, and all of a sudden, for no apparent reason, my phone's internet just will not connect to anything. I'm doing the testy test and it's fucking doing nothing. I'm refreshing the page, it's doing fucking nothing. It just seems like it's stalled for no reason. And this happens all the time now that I'm here. It almost never happened at the shelter. It almost never happened at the last place I lived at. It almost never happened at the place that I lived prior to that. So for the last 5+ years, I've not had any real issue using T-Mobile where I lived. I knew that there was always the potential that wherever I moved to, this might happen, that there might be some kind of T-Mobile related issues. But even when I first came here and I tested it in the little tour that we have, I did speed tests in the building while I was here, and I didn't have any problems. The problem is it's inconsistent. So like there's times where I'm on the phone and it's acting just like I expect it to, and then it doesn't. And then that's the problem, is that when it stops acting the way that I expect it to, it puts a halt to all potential activities. There have been times where I'm in the middle of a Google search and it just fucking halts, and I literally cannot use the internet for sometimes seconds, sometimes minutes, because for whatever reason, shit's going on with the phone. So it means that either the building itself is enough of a block that we need a more local tower, or like it might be at the, you know, sort of the cusp of the data area, and so I have to take care of this in order to because like I don't just use it for video gaming. I mean, I use it for all kinds of stuff, watching videos on the phone as well. Like, one of the things that I've been doing in more recent months is watching more videos on my phone because I don't want to eat up on my hotspot. I can't eat up on my hotspot here. It doesn't seem possible. Like, it does not seem feasible for me to actually eat up on my hotspot because of this. So instead of just hoping for it to get better, I have to take action to make changes. And that's kind of the nature of me rebranding this whole video series. It's the same shit. It's just with a different name. That's all. It's literally the same thing. And I call it a rebrand. It's not like I'm a fucking brand in the first place. Nobody watches this, really. I get like maybe 1 or 2 views per video. That's it. And to those of you who do watch it, thank you. But you're probably not even here. And you're not a nobody. It's just that what I am providing is not entertainment. At least that I'm aware of. And I'm not going to change much on it because it's not what I want to do. It's not how I function. I cannot spend... Because, like, okay, I will spend up to an hour basically talking to this thing, and then I just have it upload as it is, right? If I wanted to have a proper sort of produced, YouTube vlog experience, I would first spend half an hour, 3 hours, 8 hours of pre-production time per episode. Figuring out what I'm going to talk about, researching the topics, writing down like the nuanced points and stuff like that, having like specific bullet points, writing out a formulated sort of like 1, maybe 2 page, depending on. Ideally, you only want 1 page if you're going to be doing something, but then you'll have multiple different bullet points that you want to get to. Now, unless you know you have a much more long form, like hour plus or hour-ish plus type video format, you may want to have like literal details written out so that you can just kind of read through them, so that you can be as factual as possible if you're trying to pass off information like that. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not doing any pre-production for any of this shit. And then on top of it, after recording it, I would then have to go, I'd have to export it to an editor, which would be me, but I mean like to my computer, so that I could then edit the video. And these things, like I said before, are about 1 gig for every 10 minutes. So I'd have to wait for the export time between phone and computer, and then I'd have to pull it into a video editor. I would be using Adobe, or not Adobe anymore, but DaVinci, which I don't even have on my computer anymore. I've gotten rid of it because I've said, fuck the editing thing. And then cut out all the fat, and then try to streamline it so that there's not a lot of dead air and nonsense or whatever that's just irrelevant, what have you. Try to polish it up. And if I knew what the fuck I was doing in that regard, and I don't, regarding like color correction, I would do that kind of crap too, so that it makes it pop, it makes it look better. And then, maybe throw in some visual aids, go into like let's say for instance, I had done some research on a certain topic or whatever, and I wanted to like put up a splash box of like either completely cover the screen or just put up like a headline or something like that, or whatever I might have been talking about. Throw that in there. Maybe, hey, Matt, I want to put up the actual quote for the hope is the thing with feathers, and maybe I want to put up with the whole we are multitudes thing, whatever it is. I'd have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Editing, generally, editing is going to take at least twice as long as the actual content, the final content. But the more you, like, the longer your original content is versus your final content, you're tripling or quadrupling your workload depending on how much you're cutting. Obviously, the more you do it, the faster it gets, the easier it gets, because then you start building specific habits and specific frameworks that you work on, and like your pre-production mode, and then your recording mode, blah 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 blah. And then, you know, maybe you get big enough and you get somebody else to do all the editing for you and whatever. But the thing is like, on it, and like, actually, the shorter your form is, the longer it takes per short form. Easily a 1-minute video can take 8 hours, or at least an hour. And like, an hour for a 1-minute video is a lot of work. But I'm gonna tell you, that's on the short end. That's the fast turnaround for a 1-minute video, a good 1-minute video. Like those 1-minute, what was it, TikTok acting videos or whatever the fuck they were. Those things were produced with like actual lighting and like they were, you know, wardrobes and shit, location and crap like that. That stuff was definitely that stuff took a lot of time for 1 minute. Now, of course, you know, they were on location for a day or 5 or however long, and they could, you know, record, I don't know, 30 1-minute videos or whatever like that. But the thing is, most people don't recognize how much effort it takes to put into short form videos. And so, like, that's one of the reasons why long form videos works, is because then you don't have to put as much form into it. And then, like, if, let's say you're streaming on Twitch or something, you still have to be cognizant of your non-stream version of the content. So if you want to stream on Twitch and just let it run, usually you can't just throw that video up onto YouTube. Sometimes you can, depending, but a lot of times you're usually having to either download it or trim it via Twitch, which fortunately Twitch does have that option if you have a good enough system, to then go into it and make shorts and stuff like that and throw those up on YouTube and put them, you know, put your long form on your Twitch form of broadcast, and then you put your old broadcasts up on YouTube or whatever, however you want to do it. But like, that's still a lot of work. Like, it's still like, unless part of your stream is literally you doing the work, then you're probably taking time off. You know, like if you look at Pirate Software, for instance, you know, yeah, he's got some controversy going on with him, whatever, but I still like some of his content. Like, I'm sure there's times where he's literally just editing shit so he could put it up on YouTube while he's streaming. You know, it would be smart. It's a great way to multitask. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just like, because like you can even, and part of the pre-production aspect, and this is the stuff that I went to college for in recent years, and so like, this is stuff I know, but I'm like, I'm too fucking lazy to do all this shit on my own, man. Even if I had a massive rig where I had, like, you know, really good internet and great computers and stuff, I probably still would lazy it out. Let's be honest. But, you know, it's just like, I'm not just too lazy. It's like, I've done the work, and it's just so much fucking work. And maybe I am too lazy, and maybe I just want to be more efficient in the way that I'm doing things. But, and I'm going to cut this short because I still have to upload this shit at some point later when I leave. And I'm not doing it until it's fucking dark out, because that's when I'm going to leave to go get groceries. But like, the main reason I'm changing this video, as the video title, as I've stated, is because hope is a good feeling. I think I don't know what hope feels like. Really, it's been too long, because I try not to have hope. Honestly, like, I actively try not to allow myself to be hopeful, because when I do, it allows me to get my hopes up, and then when I inevitably have my hopes crushed, they are seriously crushed. I cannot deal well with the emotional whiplash. And that's one of the reasons why I do not generally hope. I'm sure it has something to do with a lot of factors in my life. I don't fucking know what they are. But it's like I don't want to get my hopes up. You know, they say expect the best, prepare for the worst, which means hope for the best, but then plan for the worst shit. I can't do that. I can't allow, because, and this may be part of the disabilities that I have, where if I get my hopes up, it changes my behaviors. It changes how I prepare. And then I end up preparing for the best. And then I don't actually fucking get anything done. And so, I cannot hope that these little exercises get done. I have to fucking do them. That's just what it is. And so, calling this hopefulness just, I think, dilutes the general nature of what I'm having to do in life. I cannot hope that this floor gets brushed. I have to fucking sweep it myself. I cannot hope that my back gets better. I have to fucking do the things to make it. The hope is through the action, basically. The hope is that doing these actions over and over and over every day, my back will get better. There's no guarantee, but the probability is higher. And so thus, by doing these actions, my hope for a better lower back and buttocks, because there's multiple different muscles he was talking about. Not just the gluteus maximus or gluteus minimus. There's various little bands, and then there's, of course, the tendons and the like. And apparently, I've got a number of little muscles that are all super tight because I'm extra mobile, aka hypermobile. And so because of that, my muscles have had to do extra work to keep me in place that would otherwise be done by the tendons being tighter. So I'm not going to hope that my internet gets better, because it's probably not. And I need the internet to do things like communicate with my healthcare workers, my psychiatrist, and my therapist, because I use Zoom calls with them. That's a thing that I might use for interviews at some point in the future, and I need to have reasonable internet for shit like that. For my entertainment and for the passivity of my life. But right now, I'm going to hope I can finish this cookie. Have fun.